Hey everybody, Aurélie here, connecting with you from the south of France with this week the intention to let you into my personal universe a little more, to let you into my brain, into my mind, into how I view the things that I do from a physics perspective. You guys know that I come from a traditionalist physics background and my PhD was in green electronics with some elements of quantum mechanics, but what I'm about to discuss here just goes beyond this. It goes beyond the physics that I learned at Cambridge. It goes beyond relativity and the physics of Einstein even. It's based on newer physics, led by the works of Aurélie, which I discovered and studied later on a few years back, that are not yet mainstream, but that makes so much existential, experiential, and scientific sense to me that I'm making it a point to bring it out in my own way, with my own unique perspective, because well, it's 100% relevant for the healing part of what I do, and I'll come on to that in a moment. But also because I'm passionate about this stuff, and it allows me to bridge both worlds, the scientific, the cutting edge stuff, and the healing, compassionate service to other part, which both bring me into my joy and make me me. Okay? All right, so I'll begin by setting the frame on life itself. You know, that big play that is unfolding for us moment to moment. It's actually something very fundamental to a lot of Eastern traditions and religions and beliefs, is that we're navigating our days, our life, as a sequence of now moments. Yeah, all that we'll ever experience in our bodies is the now. Yeah, the past is already gone, it's the memory, and the future hasn't happened yet. And so where I want to take you is here. If you zoom out that picture a little bit and you look at that sequence of now moments, you'll actually realize and see that they're happening in different space coordinates, in different space-time coordinates. Yeah, I'm talking to you now, but I've probably moved 1,000 meters away from where I started, because in space, because the Earth is rotating around itself, around the sun, Milky Way is in motion in the cosmos. Yeah, in 5 hours from now, you can literally be thousands of kilometers away, just purely because of the dynamics that are happening in the universe, and that consciously, fair enough, we often forget about. Yeah. Now, what you've got to know is that in each of these now moments, you are laying down information, you are laying down data onto each of these space-time coordinates. Yeah. At that moment, already had lunch, a piece of chocolate, she felt happy. At that moment, she was laid off her job, she felt scared and unsafe. At that moment, she had an epiphany. She realized that it was an opportunity to seize, and she felt courage and relief. All of that is the type of information, including the emotions, which is just energy in motion, that can be imprinted and coded, stored onto those space-time coordinates, onto the very fabric of the universe itself, of space-time, onto those tiniest bit of mass energy that I've described before as the quanta, the tiniest unit of the quantum field that can store holographically a huge amount of information. So whether you're learning something new, you're navigating something traumatic, something joyful, a small emotion, a big emotion, as you move through space-time, you are continuously, constantly, 24/7, leaving imprints, like records electromagnetically of your passing, and that become part of your memory. Yeah. Now, say we looked through space and we followed you, yeah, and we looked at that continuum of now imprints that you've been laying down just by living in onto those space-time coordinates, where we could probably draw what would look like a twirly thread or a spiral of some kind, and that would bring sense to the concept of time. Yeah, oh yeah, this happened in this order, this is this chronological order, this is your timeline, your quantum timeline. Yeah. Now, all of that information, all of that past data, you'll agree that at some point the conscious mind just forgets about it. Yeah, it's another way of looking at it. It gets stored in the subconscious mind, but this information is still there and still very much connected to you. It's quantumly entangled with you, which is why most often than not you can recall the memory in your brain right here, right now. What you're doing, what's happening, you're not knowingly doing it, but with your intention to recall that information, you're asking your brain to tune, like an antenna, to tune in to the past, to that specific event, to gather all of the information that was encoded back there, and to have that leap across space-time at the speed of consciousness, at the speed faster than light, and to have that boom come here in your now space, have here in your conscious awareness. And that includes all of the emotions also that were encoded back there as an energy, as a frequency. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I used to feel that way. Yeah, which is why it is oftentimes very difficult for survivors of trauma to relieve past experiences because of the emotions that are so difficult to feel, and that the subconscious will not ever want you to feel ever again, because it will perceive that as a death threat. And so it will really hide and store that information in space-time very deeply, so it cannot ever be found. Yeah. Now, what I want you to understand is that this information, this data, is fully and completely rewritable. It's fully and completely changeable and wipeable, like you would wipe a computer drive. Yeah, I've used that metaphor before. It's actually to a degree what happens when you discuss a past event with a friend or with a therapist, and they say they give you a reframe, and you start to view that experience from a different angle, from a different perspective, and there's an emotion that shifts, like a charge associated to that event that shifts. If you look at the information that was encoded initially, after this chat, you will realize that the information that's encoded back there is no longer the same. Yeah. Now so what that means is that the information that was back there has changed, and it's changed how you feel now, because now possibly you're able to look and talk about this past experience from a space of neutrality or non-reactivity. Something has definitely changed. Yeah. So now I'm going to take that a step further. Yeah. If you're seasoned with holistic and integrative health, you'll know that the body is a very intelligent communication device, that every symptomatic expression or every symptom that it will express is at the root a manifestation, a somatization of a blockage that most often is emotional in nature. Yeah, somewhere down the line an event happened, and that was either too intense, too difficult, too shocking to process and integrate in the moment. We go into survival mode, the body tenses up, the soul contracts, the information doesn't flow freely anymore. All of that information gets stored in the subconscious mind, in our bodily cellular memories, which are in fact cellular space memories, which means that for one symptom that you might be suffering in your here and now, there is information somewhere onto the fabric of space-time that is connected to it, that contributed to it, that perhaps completely caused it, and that can be found. Yeah. Well, that my offering to the world, my gift, is this ability to tune in and understand that hidden subconscious information. Like a highly trained antenna receiver, I will go and find however deeply buried your subconscious mind deemed it needed to be hidden for you to never feel this stuff again here and now, and yet it's creating havoc and chaos in symptoms in your reality now anyway. I will go and find that information on your behalf, and I will wipe it away. Yeah. So now, sometimes it's just about purely shifting and discharging the residual emotion that's associated with an event. So it's rewriting the emotional component part of it, so that we bring that information to a space of neutrality, so that in your here and now, since it is quantumly entangled with you, it's enough to course correct your emotional health or to feel different. And sometimes it's about retrieving complete aspects of yourself that literally are frozen in time and space. They are still reverberating, thinking they are still in the middle of that turmoil, not seeing that you are actually in fact right here, right now, 5 years later, or 10 years later, or 15 years later, completely safe and in a completely new reality. So we have to go and find these parts of you to be reintegrated back, so that it prevents you from age regressing. Sometimes we're like, oh, I'm acting like a 5-year-old. Yeah, there's a reason for that. Yeah. And sometimes it's about helping you or connecting you to a higher timeline. I've only scraped the surface here, but you actually have not just one timeline, you have an infinite number of timelines in your personal space-time matrix. And there are timelines and reality spaces where there are feel better experiences that we can connect you to. And so when that happens, through space-time, through resonance across space-time again, because you're connected to a different space, what happens is you might observe your mindset elevate, your heart expand and be open. You might have the experience of fear being lifted to make room for courage to leave that toxic relationship. You might feel like guilt is being dissolved and discharged to make room for that worthiness, to align with a job that is aligned with your values. Yeah, that's called quantum jumping timelines. Yeah. The reality of things is that for a symptom that you might be suffering from in your here and now, and especially if it is severe, or especially if you've had it, if your body communicated about this piece for a while, then there might be many imprints holographically stored onto the fabric of space-time that will be connected to it. Yeah, so that might mean that I will need more than one session, more than 1 hour to completely go and retrieve this information and transmute it and to shift it and to change it and to rewrite it. So it might mean several sessions in sequence, but what's important to realize is that sometimes with just one wiping of the drive, you clear one imprint that was causing such chaos and havoc when you're here right now, that it carries the potential for a huge transformation, whether it's instant, whether it's in 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, depending on how quickly and how much your body needs to purge out, to adjust without leaving with this information, that he was quantumly entangled with. It always leads to some very profound transformations anyway. Yeah. So again, I've only barely scraped the surface, but with this insight into my brain, and from the standpoint of the mechanics of the structure of space-time, of the universe, I hope you'll get a glimpse, or I hope you'll see just how profound and phenomenal it is to tap into this knowledge and this ability to support and enhance our collective and our individual well-being, our health, to achieve our self-realization goals. Yeah, because leading happier and healthier lives by using quantum subconscious work is real and it works, and because we go at the root, it lasts. Okay, I believe this with every part of my being, and I've gathered enough evidence over the years to have that reflected back to me that this is indeed how this whole thing works. Yeah. And to be honest, as a scientist at the core, I tell you, I can never go back to the disconnected worldview that I was choosing to engage in unknowingly because I didn't know better. But now that I know better and I've felt it and I know it, that as cosmology affects biology and as psychology can never be disentangled from neurology, consciousness, in my opinion, cannot be taken out of the scientific equation. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you to all of those who have trusted my trained antenna to support your transformations. I can't wait to have more of you just give this a go, to just expand and enrich your brain and to connect to higher possibles that are there on to the fabric of space-time that you can be connected to. Yeah. And yeah, so please feel free to leave kindness in the comments and to let me know of any topics that you might want to see covered on here next time. And I'm going to leave you with this piece. So have a great April, guys. I love you all once more, and take good care of yourselves. Until next time. Bye-bye.